Welcome back to the garden. What I wanted to do is I want to talk to you about this particular plant. This is wild lettuce, also known as spiky lettuce or OPM lettuce. And the reason why I have so many of this in our garden, so you'll see it, they are everywhere at the moment. It's taking over my garden. I have it all over the place. And the reason why I've let it go is for the medicinal purposes. I wanted to have a quick chat with you before I put this on time lapse, and we're going to harvest the wild lettuce in the garden here. But what we've got is this plant. It looks like a weed, and most people will say that it is a weed. Everything's a weed unless you don't think it's a weed. But this particular plant is, so if you break, see that there? That there is medicine. That's what we're collecting today. Once we harvest this, we're going to do 4 processes. We're going to dry, we're going to freeze dry, we're going to put some in a tincture, and then we're going to cook some down. And there are 4 different reasons why I'm using 4 different methods. The first one, we're going to dry. We're going to dry the leaves out, and we're going to use that in tea. Generally, the guys like it, and it is soothing, it helps with sleep, and it's also a pain relief. We're going to dry the leaves for a tea. We're going to take the whole plant and we're going to chop it all up, and then we're going to put that into the freeze dryer. Powdering it up makes it very easy for us to put it into a capsule. It just means we just get the most benefits out of the plant by freeze drying it and then putting it into a capsule. The next way I want to use it is we're going to put it into a tincture. So we'll chop it all up, we'll put some alcohol over the top of it, put it into a jar, leave it for 6 or 8 weeks. I usually leave it a little bit longer. But what we're going to do is we're going to tincture it, and that also gets the medicinal properties out. And then we'll strain it, and then that will get the medicinal properties. This is the latex that we want. That's the third method. The fourth one is we're going to chop it up, we're going to put it in a big pot, we're going to put water over it, we're going to steep that for, we're going to boil it up, and we're going to get the resin out of it. It will turn a browny colour after 24 hours. We're going to strain off all the bits and pieces, and then we're going to cook that down, and we're going to keep cooking that down over a period of time until it becomes a thick brown paste. Oh, this is the time to harvest the lettuce, when it's just going to seed, or before it flowers, or when it's just about to flower. This is when the juices in there are running the best. Otherwise, once it's flowered, it's sent all its latex up, and the latex is the medicinal part. You can taste this. It's bitter. It's called wild lettuce, but it's not a lettuce that you would eat. If you cooked it down, you could eat it like a spinach, but it's not an edible lettuce. It just doesn't taste nice. How to identify wild lettuce? So the easiest way will be to take your leaf, and if you have a look, I'm not sure, I'll try and get a close-up of that. All of those spikes, that's telling you that that is the wild lettuce. There are other forms of wild lettuce. Some don't have the spikes. This one is the one I'm looking for, but there are plenty of other plants that have got the latex that come out of it. They are a milder version of the wild lettuce. So we want this one. We want the ones with the spikes on the back. So we have a whole bunch of wild lettuce growing all over the place. So some of these are just about to come up. We may harvest these, but I'm particularly after the big tall ones. And what we're going to do with some of the smaller ones down here is I really want to dig these up and put some into the food forest. I don't want this going to seed anymore in my garden. I'd prefer to put it down into the food forest. So yeah, in saying that, we're going to harvest a couple of the ones in the footpath, which are easy to pull up. And then anything that's starting to shoot up a stalk like this means that the latex is flowing nicely, and we're going to harvest most of these as well. And then hopefully we can get in and tidy this darn garden up. Look at all the cabbage moth flying around everywhere. So I want to tidy all this up. We're going to come in and do a big cleanup, and we'll get the guys to come in and help as well. So anything with a stalk on it, going to harvest, going to take it off at the bottom. Oh, I think I'm going to need to get my electric. Leaves we will strip off up at the house, but all that good stuff is what we're going to need. And then the rest of the plant we'll chop up. I think the basket is not going to work. Anyways, we will just pick it anyway. Hey, I'm going to have to go and get my snippers. Right, I have the right tool. I think we may just lay these down out here. do have other weeds in here. This is similar to a wild lettuce. It's still got the latex in it, but you'll notice that these leaves don't have the spikes coming through. So don't harvest this one. I'm going to take anything that's pretty much starting to bolt is the time to take it anyway. I need to clean this garden up, so they've got to come out anyhow. Okay, there's a few more in. A few more, there's a lot more in here. I can't even get through here. This is such a mess. Right, we've got to deal with this today, I think. Guys, stay there for a minute. Please don't fall over. Alright, I think that is it for this garden. There's a heap still in the other gardens. So I can't process everything at once, which means that we're just going to have to take this lot up, process it, come back down and harvest the next lot. I think let's get all this together and see what we've got. I still see quite a few small ones here. They're just starting to shoot up, but when I come back and get the rest of those, oh, I really should take those big ones out of there. Yeah, probably will do that too. Hang on. Some of these are going to start flowering by the look of things, and I really don't want them all to flower, so I might just take these big tall ones that are in here. Alright, so we've got all of that. I'll go and get the others. All of that. Let's go and get the other one. And, oh my gosh. All of that. Holy heck. And that one. As you can see, I was a bit ambitious trying to fit everything into one basket. That's never going to happen. I need to bring the buggy down so I can pile this in there and then start chopping and cleaning them off. All right, let's get this upstairs. I can already feel the sticky latex on my hands. We're going to have to put gloves on. I'm not going to wash them off. The only thing that is on there, the only thing that is on the plants is the seeds and the fluff that has come off the other plants in the garden. So I'm not too worried about it because at any point all of this is going to get strained. Firstly, gloves are important. Firstly, gloves. The latex stuff is already on my hand and it's sticky as it's hard to get off. So gloves first. I've got 2 tubs here. One is going to be for the nice looking leaves. I want the leaves for tea. So we're going to dry those out, and then I will chop the rest up into the other tub, and then from there the chopped up ones will go upstairs. So we're just going to plot through this. You guys are going to go on time lapse. Any of the crappy ones we're just going to throw away. So the leaves have latex in them, okay, but we're not going to get a huge amount out of that. There's lots and lots of little pieces, look. But the stalks also have a lot of it in there. So I'm going to use the stalks mainly for chopping up and putting it and trying to get the resin out of it. But I will just pull some leaves off first for the purpose of the wild lettuce tea, just from the leaves. But I'm only really after decent looking ones and not the cruddy ones. And just depends on how much I fill up this tub, as opposed to, I've still got like a heap down there, so I don't have to make a huge amount of. Oi! Oi! Come here! Come here! Who was I before we got interrupted with crazy dogs? Yeah, I don't need a massive amount. I've got a heap of it down in the garden still. So we'll see how much we've got here, then we've got to process that, and then I've got to work out where I'm going to store everything. Drying this out might take a couple of days, and yeah, freeze drying is going to take a little bit longer. And then there's only so much tincture I can make up because it's only for our own use. I'm using my old Thermomix for this because there's going to be sticky resin all over the place, and I really don't want to deal with that in my good Thermomixes. Alright, there is a lot of wild lettuce in here. So the first lot that I'm going to do, which is the sensitive stuff, I'm going to use I'm going to put them onto freeze drying trays, get them all blitzed up. They're going to be our capsules. I hope this works. I haven't done this before, so fingers crossed. Okay, so that's what we've got. All mushed up. Which is great. I don't need to put extra moisture in there. Look at the freeze dryer. Alright, let's start all over again. This time around we're putting everything in. I wanted to make some tincture out of some of this, so we will put some in a jar as well. Let me go and get a bottle. We don't want to fill it up too much because we want to have some space between the alcohol. We don't want to pack it down. Actually, no. Just put a little bit more in there. So I'm putting vodka on that. It's 40%, 80 proof. I think it's 80 proof. Let's see how this drops. Let's just top this off. I'm going to bring this up all the way to the top. So I've just put the date and wild lettuce on there. I know it's vodka, I always use vodka. This is going to go into the cupboard for 6 weeks, if not longer. Alright, let's get back to getting these all chopped up to cook down. Alright, let's get this cooking down. I do want this to cook down, but I also don't want to overdo it with the water because at some point I have to cook all this water off as well. Alright, we're going to leave that for now. I've got that up on high. We're just going to crank it up and start boiling it. We'll come back in a little while and check on it. I still have all these leaves, and what I'm going to do with this is I don't have a dehydrator big enough to process these in a large batch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these upstairs into one of our rooms and lay a sheet down on the ground, spread it very thinly, and then lay another sheet down over the top of it, and I'm just going to let this air dry up there. That's the easiest way that I'm going to be able to process this. And then once it's dry, we'll just come back and we'll just crunch it all up, bag it up, and then it's ready to use. Alright, so this has been cooking for probably about 3 or 4 hours at least, and it's cooled down now. I'm going to squeeze all this out and then I'm going to pop it back into the pot and start boiling it down. But we need to get all the lettuce leaves out of there. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a process. I think I'm going to need some bowls. I think what I'm going to try and do first is take out as much as possible, squeeze it by hand, and then put them into, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's just start. Probably end up changing what we're doing. I think this is what I'm going to end up doing. Squeeze out as much as possible by hand. If I had a machine I could put it into, it would be better, but so yeah, I think this is going to be the easiest way to do this, is to squeeze this out by hand and then strain it and get all the fine stuff out of it. We're going to bring this down to a very low simmer, and then we're just going to let this do its thing. What we want to do is just want to bring this down a little bit and then pop it into the other pot. We also want to make sure that there's a lid on there. So I've popped it into a smaller, it now fits in here, and we're just going to boil this down. Not fully boiled, just a simmering boil. It's going to take a while. We'll come back when it's reduced a bit more. So we are several hours in. As you can see, we've reduced this a lot, but we've still got a long way to go. So we're just going to keep cooking this down. It's a lot of work for a small amount of product. All right, let's take a look. Yes, that's getting down there, and we are starting to thicken up. So from here on in, we're going to start keeping a closer eye on this because it's going to start to thicken up quite fast. So yeah, it's definitely getting into a thicker consistency. I'll try and scrape off all this stuff around the edge because that's what we need. All right, we'll come back shortly. We're back and we have come to the end of the road. It's thick. We could probably reduce this down maybe a tiny bit more, but I think this is going to be it. This is exactly what we want. If we make it any thicker, it's going to be very hard to scrape it out of this pot. Just give it a couple more minutes and see what we can reduce it down to. Alright, so I think we're finished. I think this is what we're going to end up with. Let's get this out of this pot before it hardens up too much. I really want to stick my hands on it because it's going to be very hot. But I also want to make sure that I get everything out. Yeah, the pot's hot. makes it a bit difficult because one, the pot is hot, and two, if you leave it to dry, this is all going to dry in there, and you really want to collect all that. So I'm going to have to. It's definitely hardened up very quickly. Alright, there you have it. That's 2 days worth of time, a huge amount of wild lettuce, and that is what we've ended up with. That's probably not too bad actually. I was expecting a lot less, but it's a lot of work. Is it worth it? I don't know, we'll find out. Now, how would I use this? Well, we probably would just take a small teaspoon of it, quarter of a teaspoon, start with a quarter of a teaspoon, put it in your tea at night, put it in your water, mix it up with your juice, whatever you're going to take it with. I would not be taking this straight. Actually, I haven't tasted it. It's a little bit, it's bitter, but it tastes molassesy. So it's not overly disgusting, but I wouldn't be taking it straight. So yeah, put it in your tea, put it in your drink or juice or whatever. That's it. That's our wild lettuce. That's the 4 ways of processing the wild lettuce. I'll probably do another big batch. I think I want to have a little bit more of this on hand. So that's it. That's how we process our wild lettuce. I'm just going to let that cool down, and then I'm going to store that in the fridge. That's it. It was a little bit of an ordeal. This was a 2-day process to get this video done, but it's done now. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions or comments, please drop them into the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.